All right. We should be live now, I think. So cool.
What a day, boys. What a day.
Oh, all right, boys. Late night Sunday. Here with another episode of the Old Man Gaming Hour.
Or so, live from the Ohana room.
Ah, yes. So Josh made a trip back up to Lansing after the tournament was over. This will be the official post-game report or show that we're going to do. Just go over our experience running our first GT. Some of the stuff we thought was cool, some of the highlights. Just generally talk about the event. We did post a crap ton of pictures in its own channel in the Discord. So if you guys want to check out any of those photos of the armies or some action shots or whatnot, I have yet to upload the photos of the actual trophy presentation. Still working on that. So we should have that up there pretty soon too. And I think tomorrow I'll have some time to post on different social media stuff like the Twitter or Instagram and shit like that. But for now, all of the photo dump just is happening in Discord. So, man, I will tell you that it's just about as exhausting running a GT than it is playing in it.
Well, let's be fair. You played 3 out of 5 of the games, so you had to actually play, and you.
Yeah, but I mean, you're on your feet a lot and walking around and answering questions and doing this and doing that, and in that regard, that's where my feet still hurt. I didn't think that would be a thing with running the tournament.
Yeah,
that I would experience, when you're playing and standing for all day, but still do it. So,
and our chairs weren't amazing. I would have loved to have a nice computer chair or some shit to sit at behind the desk. But here we are. We sat in some fucking same ass chairs as everybody else, and it was not the best.
Oh, Mike. Thanks for tuning in, Mike. Yeah, I was basically a player in our own event, but I
played one game.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had to play day 2, but we did have one guy drop from illness, so just worked out. Actually, no, that made it even. The other guy had to leave. Yeah. So I guess we can talk about that. We had 46 registered players, and we were shooting for 40, so we overachieved with the player count. We did have a couple drops the week of, and then we kind of filled it, and then we had a couple drops, so we were up to 48 at one point, and then back down to 46, which was fantastic. I mean, we were able to pull off more than what we expected or kind of initially planned for.
Yep.
So I was pretty happy about that. And also, one of the other things too was pretty cool that people came in from further away than I anticipated.
Way further than we thought. We had a couple from Wisconsin.
Yeah. Yep. Wisconsin.
From Wisconsin.
Some Illinois. Some guys from Illinois.
Who was in town in Columbus from Maryland. And he somehow just was like, I just don't want to sit in my room. And I saw you guys had an event, so I just thought I would drive the 3 hours up.
Yeah, I mean, and that's in itself is kind of crazy. So he must have done that both days.
No, I think he's in a room up here.
Oh, did he get a room overnight here?
Somebody had said he was in the room, and then he thought the first day he was late. Remember, because he thought
that's right,
at the hotel, and then he was listening to us on our show last week and realized that we said that we were going to do it in a wedding hall, and he kind of fucking put it together. and that's what he ran late the first day, and that's why, because he thought it was there.
Yeah, you're right. I did remember that. Yeah, but I mean, still, it's cool for not being. I guess I would say this: we're not known for running GTs yet because this is our first one.
Yeah.
And somehow, some way, word got to people that weren't locals, and they came out and had a great time. From what everybody had said about the event, that they had a real good time. So
Yeah, everybody that was there gave us a lot of glowing reviews, which is great because you never know. Like that was our goal from the start, is we just wanted to have a cool event that everybody enjoyed. So maybe we can get a little word of mouth, and next year people are going to be like, "This is a hot ticket," and they don't want to miss it. So that was our goal. We wanted to hit the ground running, and I feel like we did it. I think that it was successful. So
yeah, I think overall it was very well received. The venue couldn't have been better. Right. And I was nervous about that. That was one part that I did think, like, I don't know if we picked the right town. I don't know if this or that. All these little thoughts going into it, like, are people going to like coming to this? Because it's literally in the middle of nowhere town.
yeah,
Yeah. But it was real fantastic that the venue had an attached restaurant and bar.
Yeah, it worked out great.
Yeah, and I did talk to the guys that were hosting us. They they made a decent amount of money both days on food and drink sales. So they were super happy to have us. It worked out for both of us. We did hear a lot of good things about the food, about the wait staff that was taking care of them.
I actually messaged the head guy that was doing the work today, and sent him an extra $20.
Oh,
yeah!
Bravo!
I was like, listen, you did a great job. Send me your Venmo, and then my Venmo was broke, so I said, so send me your PayPal. And I sent the guy 20 extra bucks because I felt like the money that I had already tipped him just didn't do him enough service.
Yeah. Yeah, he did take care of us on his own today without an extra server that he had helping yesterday. So, yeah, like all that was perfect. I mean, it just couldn't have been any smoother with the food and drinks coming out. They came out fast. And to be honest,
go ahead.
But yeah, I was gonna say, like, I was getting asked if I needed another drink before I finished my one that I was currently on.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay, sorry.
Going around table to table, and he was going around asking people if they wanted refills. Like, we've been to other events in restaurants, and they do a good job, but I don't remember that kind of service where people are like coming and asking you, "Hey, can I fill up your pop?" Like, right. I know Tim was sitting at the judge's desk with us, and there were multiple times that the guy came by and he basically just brought Tim another diet because he saw that he was empty. And I was like, just stop. Yeah, it was above average.
So. Yeah, like I said, it was like it couldn't have been any smoother or nicer with that portion of the event. And again, like, if we can continue to have it there, we're going to do that.
Yep. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
we got a lot of room to expand there. And what I really, I was kind of worried because it is a podunk town, and I hadn't seen the venue yet. But I knew you would. I mean, you've been to lots of tournaments just like me, so I knew you knew what you were looking at. But when we were coming up, it's pretty close to 75. It's not far.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not.
And so I thought, okay, that's not bad. Like, if it was like 6 turns and you had to stop at 4 stoplights and do like some Michigan rights.
Yeah, I mean, it's right. The town. Yeah, the town is small, although it's not far off the highway.
Yeah.
So
it was actually an okay location. Now the biggest thing is maybe if there was like a hotel like right there, it'd be perfect. But
yeah, but
I don't know how far the hotel was.
that was one thing I was a little bit nervous about because like I did look around at hotels that like where's the nearest hotel to this place,
Yeah.
and every hotel that was close was 15 minutes. Like there wasn't anything closer than that. So, um, yeah, 15 minutes is not a far drive, but we've been to places where the hotel was a block away, and you could just walk to the venue. Um, Stuff like that is super convenient, or events that are actually in a hotel and you just got to go
I mean, it's
downstairs. But
great, but
I even talked to those guys that stayed at the hotels that were from out of town, and
yeah,
it wasn't even a problem. Like, yeah, well, so what? We got to drive 15 minutes in the morning, you
yeah,
know?
perfect. Love to hear it. I was going to ask about that, and I hadn't really thought about it, but that's a good question.
Yeah,
So
so,
I'm glad that you did. I'm glad you touched base.
yep. I mean, yeah. But as far as like the actual games and stuff went, I think day one I played 2 games as the ringer because we did have one last minute drop the night before the event. Guy had a family emergency that he had to take care of, so we did have to play as ringers the first day. So I took round 1 and 3,
Yeah,
and
and I
you did
took
round
round 2.
two,
Yeah.
um, which was really cool actually because um, the round 1 game that I got to play with was against Drew, and Drew and his buddy Marty were both newer players to AoS, and it was their first ever GT.
Yeah.
So I shared my experience from going to my very first GT by myself and kind of didn't know people and that kind of thing with them. So it was nice to be able to like connect with that, and talk about
Yeah, it's like full
where we are now compared to when we started playing competitive AOS,
yeah.
and all these friends we make and see all the time, and so yeah, so hopefully, and those guys said they'll be back. Any event we run, they'll try to make, and so very cool to meet those
Where were
guys.
they from? Where were they from?
Macomb, so
Okay.
about an hour and a half they said or something
Yeah.
north
So
of
they're
here.
probably
So
not rolling down to our RTTs.
well, who knows?
Maybe
Maybe,
on occasion.
but yeah. So if we see those guys again, at least we'll be able to be like, oh, dude, I haven't seen you in a
Yeah.
while. And that's always the cool thing about events. You don't get to see those guys that often.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, you had an interesting time with the army that you brought in your round 2 game, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
decision making time for you or something.
Well, I mean, I thought, well, this is what I'm thinking I might play at Adepticon. um, do you remember the gentleman's name that I played? I was just looking, but
I
since
can
I'm
look it up.
talking now, I guess. Yeah. He was playing Cities of Sigmar, an all elf faction, couple dragons. It was a really cool list. A lot of 3D printed models, and a couple of Bretonian.
Yeah, Paul Rockwell. You could play Paul.
Yeah, Paul Rockwell.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, Paul. Sorry, I don't mean to forget your name, but it is 11:30, day 2 of a fucking tournament that I was making ridiculous. Like we'll get into it in a minute, but a lot of judging calls. Like I feel like when we do RTTs, we've never had like this many.
Yeah, it was like 1 or 2
And
questions or something throughout the day,
oh,
but you had
for
a
you
lot.
maybe. Yeah, I was gonna say I probably answered day 1 probably 4 or 5 serious legit questions, and then today round 4 there was like at least 2 questions, but one was there was some. It was at table 1, and according to the players, it was a game deciding decision. And we talked it out, and we actually reached out to Madigan, and she agreed with my ruling. So I mean, she didn't know that I made the ruling, but she said the
Yeah, it
same
was the
thing.
same
So,
ruling. Yeah.
so I was glad to hear it. But anyways, and then throughout the game 5, I probably answered 6 or 7 questions. Most of them were pretty basic, but there was 1 or 2 that were pretty hefty. So that was a lot. I was like, that was surprising to me. But So, anyways, back to round two, my game against Paul. Um, so I thought, well, I'm gonna try this this game or this army and see how I do against some, obviously seasoned professionals. And Paul uh, beat me fair and square. We didn't even have to. There were some things I didn't do towards the end, just to kind of make it a little bit softer. We don't want the ringer to just win all their games and crush souls and ruin people's records. Um, but he beat me. And what I decided was I just think that I don't know Soul Blight quite well enough to take him back to Adepticon this year. And the army I'm playing had 80 skeletons and quite a few other moving pieces, and I just thought it was going to be too slow for me to run at Adepticon. I mean, I have the time to get it done. As I talked about in last year's show before Adepticon, I painted that army in 10 days, and I would be adding a unit of Graveguard to it. So I'd have to do full conversions and painting for a unit of Graveguard. And I'm going to do a full conversion of Neferata, even though I already have her built and ready to roll. I'd rather do something a little bit cooler. So now I'm going to hold off on that until maybe the next book comes out, and then maybe get a better idea of what I would want to do with it. And in the meantime, today I started putting together some models. Um, this is uh, this is one of the models that I'm thinking about adding to a model for a conversion. And I'm certain you've seen this bad boy on the internet before. I'm trying to decide if this is big enough to go
Okay.
on on the base, or if I want to go bigger, print it again bigger. Um, and so I've been thinking I'm going to give a little bit of practice to the tree folk, Sylvaneth. I liked a lot of the armies, the paint jobs in the armies I saw today, and I've always loved the models. And I'm looking at my collection over here. I've got a pretty large collection already built and ready to roll. I just need to get it painted, which obviously we know I can get done. So I'm thinking about that. I'm going to give that a week or two. In the next few weeks, we'll hopefully get some games in, and I'll give them a shot. And if I don't like how they play, they're a little bit too elite, and I don't think that they're my style. I will probably go back to playing Daughters of Cain because it's 99.9% painted, and then I'll just have to come up with the list I want to play, which is basically Marathi or not Marathi, and I'll go from there. So I've got the fallback Daughters of Cain, which is an old favorite of mine, but I kind of want to give these elves a try. Um, so we're gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it the old college try. I'm gonna put together the last few models while I'm up here in Lansing over the next 3 days, and then hopefully by Thursday we're gonna be getting some games in and seeing how she rolls. So
Very good. I'm not making a change to shit. I got one army that's painted, and that's the army I play. So
yeah. Yeah, we talked about that while I was driving up here. We were on
yeah.
the phone for about an hour, and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, you like that army, but I think if you had other armies painted, you'd probably play them. You just
Oh, I know. And again, I don't the other stuff that I do own is not one of those like obvious decisions to where it's like this army is the best performing army that I own, right? Like I just don't have another one of those types right now.
right.
That's like, okay, now I have to paint this because this is the better. It gives me the best chance of winning games at a tournament or something. But so it's just whatever. I like playing these flesh eater courts anyways, so works out for
Well,
me.
and and like we talked about, I like to change armies. Like I like to change my underwear, and so and I don't like that. It's just what I do because I just haven't found the army that I'm like
Right.
obsessed with yet. So hopefully we'll get there. Hopefully maybe this will be it. So we'll see. But I'm building some Kurnoth bow hunters right now, and then I'm building 3 more of those, so I'll have 6, and then it's Illyrio, with the big old dragon if I can figure out the size I want. Excuse me. So that's the plan. And
All
then it's
right.
just trying different lists. And then, so who'd you play round 3?
Oh, round 3. Just closed it because I was going to go do something else.
Yeah, I mean, we started talking about everybody, so.
Round 3, I played Donnie. I don't know why I
Okay.
forgot. So Donnie is one of the guys we met this weekend that is actually part owner of a new store that just
Oh
opened
yeah.
up in Saline. So, um, real good conversations with him about the store and about what they did before they opened the store. And so they've been in business selling models for a while, but they just opened up the store part of it, and they got a real nice spot to where they can host events there too. So I think that's like down the road for them. But yeah, the game with Donnie was kind of like a little bit nervous because I remember playing you a lot when you ran Corn,
Yeah.
and when you ran the Bloodthirsters was always kind of like the problem, like because if they got into me, I would take a lot of damage.
Right.
And he ran 4 Bloodthirsters, so
That's more than I used to
I was
run.
like, I don't know, it's a couple more than I'm used to handling all at once. And yeah, it was a great game. I loved talking with Donnie and playing with him. Super fun guy. It ended up working out kind of in my favor toward the end, just because he only had 4 models. Really, I mean, he had 2 packs of dogs, but those died turn 1. I'm sure in every one of his games.
Yeah, they don't count.
But yeah, once you start taking off Bloodthirsts, it's like taking off Gargants, Um, so it's just one of those deals where you start taking off big models and a lot of his army goes away, and then it's harder to score points later. So, but all in all, pretty good game. Mike wants more RTTs.
We're gonna do more RTTs. So
Yep.
we haven't talked to everybody yet, but we will be doing. I think we've decided April. Towards the end of April, we're gonna start. And Mike, just for you, so you know, what we're planning on doing is we're gonna do a little kind of a league thing. We're gonna keep track of whoever plays in our tournaments. We're gonna keep track of your wins, your battle points, your tactics, and maybe some other categories that we've been throwing around. And then at the end of our 6 um, RTT season, which will culminate into coming into the next February where we run our next GT, we'll give the winner of with the most wins a golden ticket into our event.
Yep.
So that'll get our RTT group the opportunity to earn a golden ticket. And then also maybe some small prizes or something or little trophies. We've got a little bit
Yeah.
of time to figure it out for winning those other categories. So yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. We've decided that it's going to help us maybe keep some people coming back to our tournaments, because if you miss one, it's okay, but you might be a little behind some of the guys
Yeah.
that make it to all of them.
And again too, it's not so much that you have to come to all of them, because like wins are paramount. So like if you come to one and only get 1 win, it's the same as missing an event, kind of. But you could come to another event and get 5 or 3 wins. So
Yeah,
you
and
could
if you miss one event, somebody might get
yeah
3 wins ahead of you. Like
yeah.
it's
So
not
it's
like
not
you're like
right. It's not out of reach for anybody.
yeah.
So
So yeah, and so we're thinking, and so if we do them every 2 months, like we're planning on doing, um, it should work out that it comes right back into February. We're ready to roll for the big one, and also gives us 6 games or 6 RTTs to get shit rolling and get some stats. And then if it's not really, it doesn't work out, then we'll change it up next year. We'll do something different. But that's what we think is going to be cool this year. So
yeah, it's just something different, and it doesn't have. And you guys as players don't have to do anything else but come to the events that you're going to come to anyway. We'll take care of all the stats and can post those out in the Discord probably for you to track. But don't worry about anything other than just coming and playing and having fun, and we'll take care of all the other bells and whistles.
Well, there might be a scorecard if we do something like most character.
Well, right, but outside of that, kills. Though, but yeah, it's not like there's no extra fees or something to join the league or, just, you know what I mean? It's just
show up and play.
We're just going to keep track of some stuff.
You're in our league, and we don't, and if, it's not, you don't have to go, hey, I
maybe
sign up or anything.
And don't take this the wrong way, guys. We say league a few times. It's not necessarily league. It's just our RTT season is what we're gonna. Yeah, so
it's not a league. Yeah. Like there's a league is like you have scheduled games and you have to show up and play your opponent at a certain time. It's nothing like that. It's if you can come play in our tournaments, great. And we're gonna do this thing that we're gonna keep track of just because we think it's cool.
Yeah.
Stats and then otherwise it's just come play in our tournaments if you want to come play in our tournaments. Which I mean we usually have pretty good turnouts already. We wanted to make it kind of fun for ourselves just to see how it would be.
Sure.
So and we will be playing in our own RTT.
Oh yeah, we're playing. Hell yeah, we're playing.
So, him and me. Oh, you're on. Okay, you're this way.
Other way, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, you're on Streamlabs. You're below me. Him and me will be playing in our RTT. So we'll be selling up to 22 tickets because 23 and 24 belong to us.
Well, number 1 and number 2.
Or
we're
A,
number.
B.
Yeah. Mike, we're never going to have the category of most Grimwraths, so I'm going to crush your hopes and dreams right now. It will never be a category that we give a shit about.
Yeah. No, never. I was trying to think of something.
Yeah, it's never going to happen, buddy.
Maybe if we had a category for most monster kills, we could have a category for most monsters brought in it.
Wait a minute. I got an idea. Most Grimwrath kills.
I'm here with you. Here we
go. It will force Mike to play Grimwraths in every RTT. That way, there's ample opportunity for people to get kills.
Though? No, because I've lost to that army at least twice, maybe 3 times. I don't like the army. I think it's unfun to play against. I think it's uncool. I think people that play Grimwraths are,
psychopaths.
Questionable. Let's just. I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to accuse someone of some kind of mental disease, but they're questionable.
Oh, well, I think Mike fits the bill. Sometimes there's just too much going on in that dude's brain.
Yeah, well, Deathbringers.
You can Deathbringers. What the fuck?
Awesome. Play what you want. It doesn't matter. You know the rules. For our RTTs, we don't require paint. So play whatever the fuck you want.
Yep. All right. Let's get in. I'm going to try to, I didn't even set this up prior, but we're going to see how this works. I'm going to try to set up the window capture for Best Coast pairings.
Oh yeah. Cause we're a professional crew. We do a lot of shit.
Did it.
Got him.
All right, so
that's why you're our IT guy, because I wouldn't have any fucking clue.
I mean, I just
fucking hang out.
I'm just clicking on stuff until it works.
And sometimes buy stuff.
But yeah, I mean, we rambled there a little bit, but I think this is one of those like post GT type of conversations we were having. Like, we didn't even really have skin in the game or play or do anything meaningful, but we just loved talking about AoS and what armies we love and what we think we can play and the next events we're going to. So if you guys followed us down that rabbit hole, thanks for hanging out.
There you go.
And I'm like, I was thinking to myself just now, like, oh shit, this is the post game show for our GT. Maybe we should actually talk about the guys that played in it.
Well, yeah, but we talked about who.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Like,
yeah. But I didn't pull this up yet. Is what my mind was going towards. So, so I got the standings pulled up, and Owen actually scored more victory points than Michael. But we did have a hobby score attached to our event for the purposes of best overall. We needed some kind of hobby score added in there. So once we did the scoring, it adjusted that a little bit. So we did have 2 5-0s. Owen and Michael. Owen playing Seraphon and Michael playing Blades of Corn. So it ended up working out that Michael took the overall championship with the WWE style championship belt, which was phenomenal. We had a lot of good things said about that, about how the prize was pretty awesome. Well, I do understand though it doesn't fit Mike, so maybe he'll have to give it back.
Or he could eat a fucking sandwich.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, you heard it here first. Gain some weight, Mike. But yeah, so he took home the belt. Owen did get best general because he did have the most wins with the victory points.
Yeah.
So they went 1 and 2. I guess let's do this real quick. Let's actually look at their list because that's what like Rob does, and that seems popular.
Yeah, we like Rob.
So 5-0s. We're gonna look at Owen's list first.
There are lots of molds to pick from, Mike.
Yeah. All right. So, wow.
What?
Croak's Cretaceous Crackheads is this list name. I didn't even catch that when I looked at the list before. That's pretty awesome. So we had 2,000 points of Seraphon in the Sunclaw Star Host. 2 drops. He brought a Kron Spine as his manifestation. His general's regiment was Lord Croak as the general. A unit of reinforced Lancers, a reinforced Croxagors, a Saurus Astrolith Bearer with the Beastmaster. I don't know if that's an artifact or a trait for that army, but also a unit of Saurus Guard reinforced. And then Regiment 1 was the Skink Star Priest with the... I don't even know how to say that word. Codal Familiar.
Yeah. Yep.
A unit of Hunters of Haunchy and a unit of Raptidon Chargers.
Okay.
So, and like I said, I don't have a ton of experience playing against 4th edition Seraphon. I know you were running it a little bit a while back in 3rd when the Croak Bomb thing was pretty atrocious.
Yeah, I never really played it in a tournament because I also feel like that's a slower army. At least the way I played it. I played a lot of skinks.
Now, Lord Croak, they did give him updates recently, sometime maybe January or something, where he was able to be a little bit more effective with his Croak Bomb spell right now. So you've seen him enlist more. I do really like the reinforced Croxagors. Those dudes slap like fuck.
Yeah.
And he's still just got like the Astrolith Bearer for the bonuses that guy gives, and then the Saurus Guard for screens. the Lancers and the Chargers for some fast cav.
And DPS, those are both actually. I think the Chargers are actually maybe the highest DPS in that army.
More so than the reinforced Lancers?
Yeah. Yeah, they do the most damage per points.
Okay. Oh, I gotcha. And then the Hunters of Haunchy are just that camouflaged little teleporty unit that can pop out of terrain and stuff, right? Or whatever it is.
Yeah, they don't teleport. They start off the board, they come in, and then if it's the unit I think it is, it's the unit that will like make it so you charge 1d6 instead of 2d6.
Okay. So yeah, cool list. I wish that the one part about being a TO that I didn't realize, but I found out real quick, is when you do have to have a ringer to make the matches even. You don't get enough time to spend walking around and watching games. Like in my mind, I thought that was just how the day was going to go. We would just take strolls through the event and kind of watch a little while and see how guys were playing and talk to people. But since we had to fill in on day one, we didn't really get, at least I felt like I didn't get a whole lot of opportunity that I would have liked to have.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I watched a lot of games. I mean, I made you do most of the ringing, and I got around and saw a lot of games. So, but I didn't like to hang out too long because I didn't want anybody to be like, "What's he watching? Why is this guy just hanging out here?" Like, because I don't want him to think that I'm watching them because somebody said they're cheating or something.
Oh, so, no, I don't think anybody would have thought that, but
well, I just didn't want to bug anybody. So, but I watched a lot of games.
So Mike's list, the other 5-0, list called "Welcome to the Cornfields."
Okay.
Ha! You get it?
No.
Oh.
He, the professional. I was the consummate professional. Yeah. Jake was. I mean, to be fair, if we could have gotten anyone else to ring, we would have had them.
Yeah, we would have. We did ask. I mean, we asked him. He didn't bring an army down with him. We did on day 2. We did ask Adam if he'd like to play a game with someone.
He said no.
Just to fill in, but he's just learning KO. He did have his army there with him, but he hasn't really played it yet, so he just didn't think that would be fair to his opponent because he's just learning the new army. So
he would have just been slow and slowed them both down,
and that's all good. So we filled in like we should have, and it was fine. But I think that's one of the things next time that we'll like line up a ringer and just have them there. Probably.
Yeah, well, we talked to Jeff about that quite a bit. We got some ideas from him. So we'll see how it goes. So anyways, let's talk about Mike's list here.
Yep. He ran Blades of Corn, a 5-drop Blades of Corn list.
I love to hear it.
Which I think in hindsight, when I looked at like some of the stats for that kind of stuff, I think he was the only 5-drop list in the whole event, and that was the most drops of anyone.
My list was 4 drops.
Yeah.
But I didn't play.
I think there was one other guy that was a 4-drop. But most, like, all the other stuff was 2s and 3s. And one guy had 1 drop, I remember. So, but, so anyway, Mike was playing the Cornate Legion sub-faction. And brought the Judgments of Corn as the manifestations. His general's regiment was only the Mighty Lorna Corn as the general, and a unit of Bloodsecrators, or a Bloodsecrator.
I was gonna say what
I don't know.
I don't know. Shit.
Then his first regiment was a Realm Gore Ritualists, alone. And then Regiment 2 was
means being alone.
Yeah. Regiment 2 was a Bloodthirster of Incessant Rage.
Alone.
I don't know if that was Mike. Maybe you could. Is that done on purpose, or was that because of how the list building went? That's what the only thing you could do. Well, that's interesting to have single heroes in regiments, I think. But Regiment 3 was Scar Bloodwrath, a unit of reinforced Wrathmongers with 2 other min units of Wrathmongers. And then Regiment 4 was the Aspiring Deathbringer with a unit of reinforced Blood Warriors. So, it. I mean, and we talked about this before. I think Mike's a decent enough player that he can take pretty much whatever army he probably wanted to and do really well, if not 5-0. And he always brings even when he was playing Gits and other stuff, it was more like you're playing Gits, but you're playing some weird Gits, like a bunch of Stabbas and Shootas, and not the most meta stuff in the list. And he made all that work. So I know that there was talk about him like researching Khorne and trying to get into Khorne and this and that, and this is the list he came up with, which is interesting because like the other Khorne lists we've seen at the event was a lot of just bloodthirsters, right?
And he says here his list building was kind of on the weird side. He thinks he could have fitted into 4 drops, but he didn't want to put extra units in the General's Reg, which makes sense if you're just trying to
in case somebody took honor guard
scoring on you and having an easier time killing stuff. That makes sense to me. And my list that I was talking about, I had all my stuff in a couple regiments, and then 2 single character regiments also. So I mean, it's similar to what he's saying.
So
okay,
yeah.
I like to see the Mortal Khorne. That's pretty cool. It's not something you see very very often.
Yeah, it was cool. Like I said, I wish I would have got a chance to watch Mike play it a little bit, but alas.
Yeah, I watched a few of his games for a few minutes, and it was interesting. I was watching some of the things he was doing, and in my brain, I'm just like, what the fuck is this dude doing? But I'm like, well, you know what? I'm not going to question it. I mean, like, he's doing it, and he's won, X amount of games before this. So I mean, he has a plan, and I'm gonna let it play out. And there were a few times I'd peek over at the score because Mike likes to write it down, and it looked like maybe he was down, and I thought, oh, is this the game where he's going to lose? But by the end of the game, every time he turned in the dub. So I'm pretty impressed. It's pretty. It seems like in the hands of a professional, Khorne can be
still viable.
Winner. Yeah. And it's not like we had a soft field. We had some pretty good players.
Oh yeah,
so,
right.
So we had last year's MIGT winner. We had last year's Adepticon winner. We had Mike, who wins a few games here and there, and other guys who are real good players, and so I mean we had a pretty good crowd, and it was a minefield that he was able to traverse. So I'm impressed.
You want to go through the 4 ones?
How many are there? Yeah, let's.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, let's run them down. So Luke got injured.
Yep. So Luke played Ogres.
Old Man Gaming, new member of our team.
Oh yeah.
This is his first tournament on our squad. So we stole him away from I don't know where. I think he was just a teammate with his brother previously.
Yeah. I think
we took them both.
Yep. So new member to the team and came up and showed out with monster trucks.
Yeah.
So his was a pretty generic OMG Open Ogres Mall Tribes titled list. 1970 points in the Beast Handlers subfaction with a Kronspine Incarnate as the spell lore. In his general's reg, he had a Frost Lord on Stonehorn as the general with gruesome trophies. He had a Mournfang pack, and then he had 2 units of Beast Riders in there also. His second regiment was a Huskard on Stonehorn with a harpoon launcher, and then a Stonehorn Beast Riders unit there also.
Okay.
And then Regiment 2 was the Slaughtermaster with Touched by the Everwinter and a unit of Iron Guts. That's pretty funny because I didn't even see them on the table when I glanced over there, so I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see them either.
If they if they were like screening and then they died a lot, or of course I didn't
assume that they died early and often.
Yeah, I did see the big boys trotting around there quite often.
They're hard to miss.
Yeah,
and I want to point out, just like he did, the pants had actual camouflage on them.
That's true.
They were painted with camo. He told me and he told you.
Yeah.
So I feel like he wants people to know. So Luke, when you watch this back, because I'm sure you're in bed, because everyone that is not a psycho is sleeping right now after this weekend, which means me, Jake, and Mike are the only people awake. And I'm sure Mike's playing 2 TTS games right now live. But I want you to know that we noticed and we brought it up on our show.
Yeah.
The
camo pants for the win.
Yeah. Very nice. And tell your dad nice.
Yeah.
Because he painted it.
But yeah, I was happy to see him perform well with a list. He must have gotten some practice in.
Yeah.
With it, I mean, he knew how to play it obviously because he only took one loss, and he had 3 50s and a 48 in the wins. So
he was putting some points up. He was actually second highest points. He didn't have the most wins, but he had the second highest points in our tournament. So his scores were good.
And then next on the list of 4-1s, Brian Stone playing Sylvaneth.
Yeah,
and yeah, it was very well painted. I do like the whole lava fiery type of aesthetic in the Sylvaneth. You don't see that all the time. So when you do see it, it's like, oh, that's a pretty cool idea, and it was painted real well. So that was pretty cool. He named his list the Burning Woodland Defenders. It was on theme because he explained it to us before, like some of the bases were full lava bases and other bases were like had leaves and stuff on them because they were coming in to like heal the lava flow and heal the land and stuff. So he does have a really cool themed army.
Yeah.
But anyways, he was playing the Outcasts subfaction in a 3-drop. In his general reg, he had the Branch Witch as the general, Kurnoth Hunters with bows reinforced, and then Kurnoth Hunters with scythes reinforced. And then Regiment 1, it was Belthanos, a Gossamet Archer unit, and Spite Rider Lancers reinforced. And then Regiment 2, Warsong Revenant with Spellslinger and the Seed of Rebirth.
So no Lariel in that list.
Nope.
So that's interesting. I mean, she has a lot of points. You know, there's the question of, do you want to spend the points on her and hope you can bring back something that's, you know, important? But it looks like in lieu of that, you just bring more important stuff. And so you don't have to bring stuff back if you just have more shit. So it's like, you know, but I like it. I like the list. It may be one that I try. I may just steal his list and give it a shot when I start testing some stuff. So.
Yeah, and I think that's what you were saying earlier too, was that you do like the variety that you can put in Sylvaneth also, where it's like a Lariel and some stuff, or you go like Brian did and take a bunch of different stuff, or, you know, we did see that list back in 3rd edition where it was all like Tree Lords and that kind of stuff. So it has a lot of different stuff that you can play.
I've heard Rob talk about some people playing like multiple Durthus. And I've got quite a few Tree Lords here to build, and a couple of them could be Durthus because that could be fun. So
there you go.
We'll have to wait and see.
Awesome. Next 4-1 is our buddy Jack Cawwood playing
Jack
Nurgle, no less. Now, when I saw him playing Nurgle, I know he plays Nurgle on and off, but I was like, I don't know, maybe he's just testing the waters out with this thing or whatever, because he had played pretty historically. He's been playing Slanesh.
Yeah.
And then also he was running snakes for a little while too. So, but trying out the 30 Blight Kings OMG list with 1960 points in a 2-drop, and that's under the Plague Cyst subfaction. So his general's reg was the Rotbringer Sorcerer as the general, a Lord of Blights with the gift of Febrile Frenzy and Rustfang. And then he had 3, count them, uno, dos, tres, reinforced,
Uno, dos, tres.
Reinforced Blight Kings.
I like to see it.
That's a giant meat trap.
Yeah,
and then
you just stand in circles.
Yeah, and then he did bring the Chaos Regiment of Renown, Lord Skulldeer's Chosen, which is a unit of knights, Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, and a unit of warriors. I don't know, I guess, exactly how he would have used those. Maybe just for some speed and a little bit of extra, what are they, 3-up saves probably too, so...
Yeah. Just more people to stand in circles, man.
I guess so. I mean...
Yeah, and I imagine some of those tactics that are a little bit more difficult, you can get that the Chaos Lord out and the Knights maybe out to go handle some of that stuff as prospectors. It's hard to tell because there's not a lot of prospectors, I would say, in the Nurgle army. So
no,
you need something, and I mean maybe that's.
And I'm sure, right?
With it.
I'm sure the Lord of Blights and the Rotbringer Sorcerer just stood behind the meat shield of the Blight Kings the whole time, and gave them the buffs and whatever. But I don't know. When I talked to Jack after one of the rounds, I think it was more or less he was just like, "Hey, turns out 30 Blight Kings pretty good." So I don't know if he was kind of joking with me or he just realized that they were overperforming from what he thought they would do. But yeah, like apparently it does work.
Strong list and a strong showing. I mean, and it's interesting. He's not the only person that brought a Regiment of Renown. There were a lot of Regiment of Renowns in the tournament, and I don't always use them, but I thought it was pretty interesting, and it made me think. Maybe there's some room to fill some holes. Like I shouldn't say that. Like my what was it when I was playing Stormcast? I always brought Cinderfall. Yeah. But other than that army, I didn't really use a lot of them. But maybe there's something we need to visit and kind of talk about and figure out, if we want to start incorporating some of that stuff to fill some gaps in our lists. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, but I think I also think that's why they did that type of thing, in case. So like, Nurgle wasn't getting played a whole lot, I don't believe, the beginning of 4th edition.
But I don't think being able to take fucking Chaos Knights and shit is the reason people are not playing it. No.
I'm saying that Jack did it
for
a purpose. I'm just saying, like, if you have an army you like, let's say, and they're underperforming, maybe inserting one of those regiments of renown gives you the play that they don't have natively in their book.
Yeah.
To be able to score tactics or get an extra few points here or there, that helps you out, whatever. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe Sylvaneth needs Saviors of Cinderfall.
Oh, there you go. Best of both worlds for you. I mean, you could explore it.
Yeah, maybe you'll see that this week when we start my testing. Anyways, who's next? We got
next is
Sala.
Dan Sasala.
He was playing Stormcast. He had a beautiful army.
Yeah, it was very, very close to being the best painted army there.
He was number 2. He was our second choice. There was a third person in the running when we tallied the scores. I think we really liked the other person's conversions, but maybe his paint wasn't quite there. But the player that won and this player, I mean, we had to vote multiple times to determine who we thought. We voted. It was a tie, so we talked it out. We voted. It was a tie, so we talked it out, and eventually we came to an agreement that the other army won. And there were other armies that we thought had a real good shot as well. We'll talk about who won that in a minute, but there were multiple armies that were just gorgeous. But with our tally sheet and the points that we were giving out, 3 people were just a step above everybody else.
Yeah, there was another like
number 2
subcategory that just was like, they were just one more tick up, and they would have been right up there with those other guys. So,
a lot of nicely painted stuff.
But Dan's list, he also played very well. He went 4-1, right? Why play Vanguard Chamber when you can play 2 big dragons? ? Is his list name?
I approved that message. I actually tested a similar list when I was playing some Stormcast. I liked it.
So he comes in at 1990 points with a 3-drop Lightning Echelon Stormcast list. Primal Energy as manifestations lore. We got Karazai, the General, and a unit of Praetors, as one does.
Yeah, as one does. Need that word save on your job.
The Regiment 1 is Lord Constellant on Stardrake, which was, I'll tell you, Dan, if you're watching this shit show, best model in the room, hands down, painted.
That by far was the best model.
We really did love that model completely, everything about it. Yeah. But he had the mirror shield on him with the Envoy from the Heavens also. Unit of Storm Coven, which I really love that unit, and a unit of Vigilors. Regiment 2 was the Lord Relictor, a unit of Reinforced Prosecutors, and another unit of Vigilors. So, and we know, I mean, we've played this against this list or played this list a few times with a big dragon with the Praetors, the Vigilors to go around and shoot stuff for give stuff +1 to hit. And the Prosecutors got a 3d6 charge. Lord Relictor to teleport stuff around when you need to. So, yeah, it's a tough list to beat. I guess the one thing that I would say that it doesn't have that most other Stormcast lists do have are long strikes. And
I was just going to mention that also.
I don't know if
I
don't know if the sacrifice was I'm bringing another big dragon, so I don't have the points for long strikes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
To be that.
I would guess that. But when you got 2 big dragons that just eat the shit out of people, maybe you don't need it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, obviously he doesn't need it. He's 4-1.
Yeah. Well, sure.
He had one of the best painted armies and he's the total package. And I've seen his army at other places. His display board is amazing, and I feel like he's gotten some best painteds other places.
Yep.
So,
yep. Yeah. So congratulations, Dan, on the 4-1. And then last 4-1, of course, our good buddy Jeff Campbell Crowley.
Excellent showing from Jeff.
Come down and play his yeah, he's an older guy, so he has to label his armies as what they really are. So this is AoS 4 LRL as the title.
What are you trying to say?
Well, you're an old dude too.
I go LRL 1, LRL 2, LRL 3. I don't say AoS 4 because, I mean,
yeah, I'm just poking fun at Jeff. That's all. But he ran the Venari Battle Host as a 4-drop with the Manifestations of Hysh. and his general's reg was just Severith. That's it.
Love to see it.
Regiment number 1 was the Twins, with a unit of reinforced Sentinels, a reinforced Dawn Riders, and a Ballista, which I don't think I've ever seen a Ballista in a LOR list since I've been playing the game.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. But
well, it's only 110 points, so it might have been a filler unit. I didn't talk to Jeff about that, but it may have been like, hey, I got like 100 some points left, and I'll stick that in there.
Maybe. I mean, I think it does make your shooting better somehow. Neither of us play a lot of Lumineth, even though I was earlier in the year thinking about playing a lot of Lumineth.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've played against it too, but not a Ballista, so I don't know exactly what those do offhand.
You know what? I can figure it out. You keep going.
Okay. Regiment 2 was a Scanari Enlightener with the Masterful Tactician and the Silver Wand. And then he had a unit of Wardens and then a unit of Blade Lords. So it's cool to see Jeff play well. He is a good player, and he likes to brag about it. But yeah, it's fantastic to see him at events. Sometimes you wonder about if he's going to play because he is involved in co-owning a store now in Lansing and running events and doing stuff at the store. And then, he's also the TO of the Michigan GT. So I know that there's a lot of stuff that goes into planning and running that. So it was good it was good to see him out today. Or this weekend.
So, yeah. So this is an interesting weapon. So it shoots 3 shots, hits on 2s, wounds on 3s, rend 1, D3 damage, crit 2 hits, and anti-monster rend 1. But the thing about it is, once per shooting phase, if all of its shots attack the same enemy, you subtract 1 from hit rolls for the target's attacks for the rest of the turn. So, I mean, it's just tech. It just goes in there, does a little bit of, damage, but then what it really does is make shit. So it attacks,
So that thing fires on the primary target of the round, and everything is +1 to hit against it.
No. -1 from hit rolls for the target's attacks. So they're...
Oh, the target's minus to hit. Is that what you said?
Yeah, for the rest of the turn. So, like, it makes their attacks worse.
Sure, okay. So you're debuffing something down.
Yeah.
John was actually wrong. I don't know. John's in the YouTube chat. He said it gives +1 to hit the targeted unit for that turn.
Hey,
come on, John.
It's okay. It's all right, brother.
I mean, it is like past midnight after day 2 of a tournament that you played in, so we'll cut you some slack, I guess.
Yeah, no big deal.
But yeah, that rounds out the 4 1s. We had a bunch of 3 2s and 2 3s, but I'm not going to go through all the lists tonight just because it's too late to have a 3-hour show going through lists.
I will say, I just want to give Ethan some props.
Let's do this. We'll go down the list and see where our OMG boys are at.
All right, let's.
So, like we said, we already talked about Luke finishing in 3rd place in points, anyways, with OMG. Down the list we go. All right, Rick Edinger. Actually, Rick finished 22nd place in the standings, but he did take home a trophy with the best tactician because he completed 24 out of 25 tactics.
Yeah,
which is amazing. Going 2-3 and still doing all the tactics. So.
Yeah, he was like, primaries are for bitches. I'm scoring tactics.
Yeah. Appreciate that, John. He says, great tournament, by the way. I look forward to attending more in the future.
Yeah, can't wait to play with you, John. And the next time, hopefully we can, obviously we could play in the next one. Not our next one, but next one we see at. Maybe we'll get to
Oh, sure.
to take you on.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. So, where's the next guy? Oh, Justin Crandall, also new to the OMG
new
team.
to the OMG team.
He abandoned his gits for some reason. He was playing trolls for a while. But he brought Seraphon and went 2-3.
Like to see it.
So, I mean, and again, he also is a real well-rounded player. I've played him quite a few times. So I think he's probably a little bit disappointed in the 2-3 result. But again, I haven't seen him play Seraphon all that much either. So it might have just been like trying out a new army. Giving them a go.
Why not?
Yeah. And then we got Big E, baby, rounding out the OMG team that we're playing. Oh, no, we still got more. I'm sorry. That's not the last. But Ethan played a new army in this. Was this his first actual GT?
No, I believe he's played one other GT.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
I can't remember what it was. But this is, I believe this is his second GT.
Okay.
And so a little backstory on his army. So we had been playing, we had just painted up a list of OBR for him, and he was liking them a lot. That's one of his favorite armies aesthetically. And he was just having a little bit of trouble. We had changed the list a few times, and we decided, you know what, let's go in a different direction. He really likes the IDK also, so he decided he wanted to play IDK. So we started painting up his list about 13 days ago, because that's what I do.
Yep.
Actually, now it's 15 days ago because it was 13 days before the tournament, and we started getting some paint on it. And then the night before I left to come up here, he had decided, yeah, I'm going to make some more changes to the list. So he added 10 more infantry, took out a bunch of stuff. And I said, okay, listen, give me everything that's in your first list and everything that's in your second list. I'm doing them both. I'm painting all those models because if you change your mind again, I don't want to be screwed. And the whole week I worked on it while I was up here working. I did 13 days up here. I got it back to town, and I worked on the bases the last night, and got them done. I didn't sleep before our first day of our tournament. I pulled in all day because I had to get that child's bases done. So I was glad to see that he got his first 2-3 showing. He previously had a 1-4. I think he's actually had 2 1-4s. Now that I think about it, he's been to a few GTs.
Okay.
And I was proud to see that he didn't let day one get down to him. He had, he scored some pretty good points in those first 3 games, although taking losses. But day 2, he rallied and got 2 dubs against 2 great opponents. He told me on the way home that he had great games, all of them. And I was proud to see that he got those dubs.
And I think a part of that first day was the learning curve of the Idneth, what he could do with his army and what he should be doing with his army, type of thing.
We had played a lot of games, but he didn't really have an idea of how he wanted to play this particular list.
Right.
And we kind of talked about it after day 1, and he changed some things up. In day 2, it looked like maybe he
figured something out there.
He has a new strategy. Yep. So I'm glad to hear it. He did a great job.
Yeah. Congratulations, E, if you watch this back. I don't know if I got a chance to personally tell you. I was very proud to see you get 2 wins at a GT. So good job, buddy. Where is our other dude? Oh, here he is.
Well, there he is, number 39.
All right, number 39, Nicholas Forsyth, our good buddy and our resident tech guy. He did the setup for the sound system and the projector that we were using for the round timers. So
he also made 4 tables.
Oh yeah, he did do that too. he put a lot of work into this, and
No, five.
oh, five, yeah, five tables of terrain himself, just because he loves building and painting terrain for some reason.
Yeah, good
but
for him.
yeah,
Not me.
it was very cool. So he put a lot of work into this too. But a 1-4 showing. He won his first game and he was real happy about it. And then I think he had a couple stinker games after that where either he made mistakes or, he was didn't get the result he wanted to get or thought he was going to be able to get. So he was a little bit down after day one, I think. But you had to talk with him, and it was not so much of turning his spirits around maybe a little bit, and then his last game, I will say he played very well the last game versus an opponent that we know from other events too, and he scored 44 points in a loss. I mean, it was a real good job of him controlling his army that game. But he said he had a really awesome game with Jacob, and he was like back to the normal Nick, He was happy-go-lucky, and
and I've played Jacob before. He's a good player.
Yeah.
When I played him, he was playing Big Wa, and he beat me in I don't know if it was MIGT or it might have been
the upkeep.
Well, I don't know where it was, but I was playing Corn, and he and remember he oogity boogitied my Bloodthirster off the table twice, 2 times in one game. So I mean, he's beat me before. He's a great guy and a great player. So I'm really glad to hear Nick say that he had a great time playing him, and that it kind of turned his entire tournament around. It seems like.
Yeah, he was real happy at the end there. So I was glad. I was like a little bit nervous that he was having a bad time, because you never want to have anyone have a bad time at an event, because it literally is a collection of nerds to bring your toys to and have fun.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so it worked out for him toward the end there, so that was great. But yeah, that was the team. Happy to have the guys. Couldn't be prouder of how we put it together, all the work that went into it. Guys had fun at the event, and that's all we could really ask for, I think.
Yeah. So before it seems like you're starting to head towards wrapping this up, we should probably talk about who won all of our prizes. So we haven't really touched on all of our prizes yet. We don't need to tell what prizes, but
that'd
you
be
have
fantastic if I had the paper in front of me.
All right. Well, so what we don't have is all the answers. So we should say that best paint went to CK with his Lumineth.
Yep.
I feel like it's won some best paint before. So like I said, between him and Dan, we were torn. And I actually was off making a ruling, but my vote stayed the same the whole time. And when I came back, it was decided that CK eked it out. I would say it was 1 and 1A. And so he was our best painted, beautiful army. And he also, while we were judging on day 2 for the 3 best painted, he had some music. He played some music with his army, or not music. It was like sword fighting.
It was like sword fighting sound effects. I don't know.
It was freaking CK.
He was
crazy.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
I love that dude.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite people to see show up to a tournament. He comes to our RTTs. He's always having a good time.
Oh yeah.
So real good guy. And then like you said, we got Mike Roush won the belt. Which we're excited to see one of our friends take that home. Owen won best general.
Yep.
Rick won best
tactician.
And
I think I know the rest of them by memory.
I know best destruction was Luke.
Luke won for best destruction playing ogres.
Yep.
Brian Stone, best order with Sylvaneth.
Yep.
Jack, best chaos with Nurgle.
Correct. Yep.
In
Best
which one? Oh, Death. Hunter.
Hunter.
Won best death with Flesh Eater Courts.
Yep. And then we also had the category of best 4-1.
Yep.
Which looks like probably Dan.
Yeah, Dan won best 4-1 that didn't already win a prize type of situation.
Jeremiah looks like Andrew Locke.
No, Andrew Locke won best 3 win.
3-2.
And
then
then I'm
we
looking.
Okay, I'm looking at the screen and you haven't scrolled yet.
Keenan. Keenan with Daughters of Cain, because Rick had already won best tactician.
Yeah, Keenan won best
and then
2-1.
And then the best one
win
that was still there was George Coe.
Yep.
He ended up winning best 1 win.
He was excited about that 1 win.
Yeah, dude, he was pumped.
Trophy. It was a small trophy, but it was mighty.
No, it's true.
And you got a good prize. I mean, you get a good prize for that. So.
And we did do we did do a last place trophy, which was more of like a little bit of give back, because there's always a player that wants to come to an event, gets the shit kicked out of them the whole time. And this happens every event. This is not just ours. But they stick it out for all 5 rounds. They get 0 wins. And they show true grit. So that's what we've named the trophy for our last place award. And that was given to Martini. I actually got to play against him as a ringer for a game. And super nice dude. Like most everybody is, but he was learning, and like I said, him and his buddy Drew were there for the very first time ever playing a GT, so I think they just kind of wanted to like get their feet wet and see what it was about, and they both said they had a great time, and Marty takes home some hardware.
Yeah, true grit, and that was a real cool trophy. Like that was one of my favorite trophies that we made. So
yeah,
had a farmer bust because it's not a warrior; he's more of a farmer.
He was a peasant,
but he was our favorite. So
yeah, so very good. Like all in all, I think we were able to handle some of the curveballs that were thrown at us for that for running in the tournament, which I think that happens pretty commonly in most things. You got drops here or there. You got I know in some of the bigger events where it's like guys play day 1 and then either they're too drunk or they are vomiting or whatever throughout the night or come day 2 and they can't come and then they don't tell anybody because they're not feeling good and then it's kind of like we had that a little bit going into our day 2 where it was kind of like, hey, we don't have everybody here. Let's do it. Let's do some head counts and see where people are at, and then eventually we have to start the round. But it ended up turning out that we did the head count wrong or something. And
no, I think people were waiting in their car for pairings for whatever reason, and we weren't going to do pairings till we knew we had everybody there.
Oh, okay. So it was just one of those, yeah. So, anyways, it ended up working out just fine. Yeah, like I said, man, it was a lot of work going into that, a lot of planning, a lot of physical work because we had to borrow all the folding tables from different sources to get them in there and tear down and take them back and all that. So, I wish that we didn't have to do that part of it. Like if we just had to bring our terrain and mats and set up would be ideal.
Right.
But unfortunately, the venue is a wedding hall, and they host weddings with the like traditional round tables that you see at most wedding halls, and they're not large enough for our mats. So, I mean, it is what it is, but we made it work. But yeah, it was just a long weekend of transporting items.
Yep, but it's over now, and we
Yep.
don't have to think about that for another year. And we'll start planning in a couple months, but by the time it comes around again, we'll forget how exhausting it was, and we'll be fucking psyched again. So,
Yeah.
so yep, I think the way that the feedback we've gotten has been great. So I think we'll probably definitely run another one, provided we can find a location. Hopefully, this location. Um, will be there for us to use, and because it was great. But
Yep.
if not, we'll try to hunt something else down, and provided we can. We had a great time, and we think everybody else had a great time, and we enjoyed having everybody. So,
Yep. And
yeah.
I am going to give us a little bit of a slow clap
Sorry, I
because
wasn't ready to clap.
because I mean we fucking killed it. I mean, to be honest, we just did it.
Yeah, that happened.
We did the damn thing, and
I mean, we put a lot of time and effort into it, contacting sponsors, um, setting up the hall. Actually, you know what? Honestly, you put a majority of that into it, and so I want to give you thanks for reaching out to people. I did a lot of communicating with Jeff and helping come up with ideas, and we ran a lot of stuff back and forth. But like as far as like sending out our email after we drafted it, you did that, and you talked to all the store people, um, and got us all the sponsors that we got, and also you had everything planned. Like I was like, yeah. I often told you, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get this done, and you're like, no, don't worry about it. I've got a backup plan for a backup plan for a backup plan, and
yeah. Well,
everything.
that's what I was like nervous about. Uh, you know, I just didn't want like if we're just like, okay, we have enough tables and we have enough mats and we have enough terrain from just one source or something like that, and like what happens if something happens to one of those things, then it all falls apart. So yeah, anyways, I probably overthought a lot of stuff, but in hindsight I think I'm glad that I did it that way, just in case.
Yep. And we had a few things get a little hairy, but because of your over planning, it worked out fine.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to give you a slow clap, but I'll give you a thumbs up. As a business partner, I think you did a great job, and I'm glad to be kicking it with you as far as that goes, because you're way more organized than me, and so I would be a fucking shit show if I didn't have you.
That's what I do, baby.
So, all right, now that we're done with the fucking weird shit.
Oh, that wasn't the weird shit. Not yet.
You got more?
No, I don't have any more. I was like off air weird shit.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's when he's going to actually tell me that I said what he wrote down for me to say about him wrong. And
I was like, oh man, where's this going to go? Yeah. But yeah, dude, I think, like I said, I really think we nailed it on this very first one. Like still we had a lot of helps, a lot of suggestions, a lot of things like we did ask a bunch of people about and whatever, but
our team came through for us,
yep.
And our friends came through for us. We've already thanked everybody a number of times, but yeah. So
yep.
I think we nailed it, but the problem is now we have to up our game.
Yeah, well, I guess we can talk a little bit about that before we get off here. Is just Future plans, initially following our first GT, would be we're gonna, like Josh said, we're gonna try to secure the same venue because I think that really was awesome. We are going to try to up the player count to 60 is our target. At least what we're talking about is adding 10 more tables to the event,
right,
to get 60 players. We'll probably keep most of the same awards because we don't want to go away from what we've done already.
We may add a couple fun awards. We don't know.
Yeah.
We have to think about it.
I mean, that's not set in stone or anything yet, but just initial thoughts. I do want to make a little bit of more of an effort, I think, in getting more stores lined up for sponsorship, because that's where we did get a majority of the model kits from. And I just think if we're able to get a couple more local stores in our region to jump on board with that, we can give out a decent amount of prizes that are maybe like a little bit, because we didn't have any big army boxes like some events have. I mean, we just kind of stuck with the spearhead size boxes for the most part, other than those 2 larger boxes we did get from our house games. But I think like maybe we could upgrade some of the box sets we have, maybe, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like there's just something we could do to whatever.
Yeah.
Have more of a thing or whatever, but yeah, I mean, you know, but all in all, I think that's the thing is to grow it a little bit, bring more people in. And I'm sure that'll happen too with a little bit of like, hey, we went to this event last year and it was awesome. We loved it. Maybe they bring a couple more of their friends. I know the guys that came up from Columbus, was a group of 3 dudes. And they said, well, we'll probably bring more guys next year from their group.
Love to
So,
hear it.
you know, if that kind of thing happens, and then maybe it works out for our buddy Clay down in Kentucky to come up with his group of guys. I know they were kind of planning on it, but then they're also planning on going to Adepticon, so it didn't work out with their group to be able to hit both of those. And I understand that too. But maybe some stuff will align for other groups of guys to come too. So we did miss having Rob Mulshine. He's usually a regular to our RTTs and local events, and I've traveled with him and some group of guys to Pittsburgh to play events before. So I know he plays a lot of events. He couldn't make it this time. So you know, I'm sure there's other guys out there that are just like, dang, I can't make this one, and maybe they'll be able to make it next year or whatever. So yeah, that's where we're gonna leave it. We're gonna grow next year and make it an even better, bigger event.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm tired too. Okay, man. I gotta go to bed. But anyways, yeah. Thanks for everybody that came out. Thanks for the group that helped put it together and coordinate and all that stuff. And
thanks for the group that helped tear it down.
Oh yeah, that was super helpful. God, that was helpful. Some of the players stayed over and helped out with that. So thank you, because I didn't want to stay there for like 3 hours just moving tables around and whatever. So
and thanks, Mike and John and whoever else is on the chats right now. Thanks for coming on and listening.
Oh yeah, yep. If you're watching it live, congratulations. You only have to live through this once. Don't have to rewatch it.
I mean, you can.
So stupid. This is the outro that everybody wanted. Look at these 2 bumbling idiots. But yeah, I guess we're about an hour and a half. So that's about right. That's what I thought it'd probably take.
That's what we do. About an hour and a half to
Yep.
2 hours. So, Anyways, I'm just gonna say this
Yeah,
now. Subscribe, hit the bells, do the things that make the dings, join our Discord, and goodbye, friends.
Adios. I'm going to give it 5 seconds so you can have your goodbye friends thing in there this time.
I said it before you.